Says I was muted. Sorry, I guess I clicked the wrong button there. How's everybody doing? Continue on in Mark, Tuesday study. If I can get rid of this tab here. There we go. So it's Mark 5. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. So it's somebody that's possessed, which is what the mark of the beast is. It's total human body possession by all goats on the earth. And they will have superhuman strength. And it's telling you here, it said, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him? No, not with chains. And in other Bible verses or in other Gospels, it says the chains could not hold him. So when it says not with chains, it's saying the chains could not even hold him. Let's go to Mark 5 in the New Living and see if they don't just spell it out like that. If not, we'll show you the other Gospels where they actually do say that. He often was, here it says, whenever he was put into chains and shackles, as he often was, he snapped the chains from his wrist and smashed the shackles. So superhuman strength. That's why the Great Tribulation lasts 3.5 days, because they have sheep outnumbered and outstrengthed. They have the strength of 10 humans, and they will be taking off the heads of the sheep by any means necessary, by any tool they could find. So, who had his dwelling with the tombs, and no man could bind him, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and that the chains had been plucked asunder by him. Oh, there you go. And the fetters broke into pieces, neither could any man tame him. Well, I should have just kept reading, huh? And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. So people that cut themselves today, of course, that's demonic activity taking place, of course. That's not somebody with the Holy Spirit that would do that. But when he saw Jesus afar off, and if you don't have the Holy Spirit, then by proxy you're of your father the devil. You already have demons, but some people's demons are just worse. They manifest more harshly, all by the will of the Lord, of course. And he cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he said, my name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much by what he would send them away out of the country. Now there were there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. So he's going to end up casting the devils into the swine, and they will drown themselves. Let's continue on in Daniel 3. Therefore, because the king's commandment was so urgent and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flames of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto the counselors, didn't we cast 3 men into the midst of the burning fiery furnace? They answered and said, it's true, O king. And he answered and said, well, I see 4 men loose walking around in the fire, and they don't have any harm from the fire whatsoever. And I also see one whose form is like the Son of God. So I'm seeing 4 total. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth in the midst of the fire. And the princes and the governors and the captains and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whom their bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair on their head singed, neither were their coats damaged, or even had any smell like fire. We'll continue the rest tomorrow. I'm glad you're here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.